Good evening, everyone.
Goodbye.
If we can, please, I'd like to call the Wednesday, February 25th County Board meeting to order. Mr. Ackerman, would you please call the roll?
Crawford?
Here.
Goddard? Graff?
Here.
Hall? Harris?
Here.
Hopkins? Hopkins? Josting? Longfellow?
Here.
Mennel?
Here.
Milam?
Here.
Mingus? Nelms?
Here.
Frail?
Here.
Rich Simpson?
Here.
Schmickall? Schneider? Sin?
Here.
Stahl?
Here.
Stump?
Here.
Woodruff? Hopkins?
Here.
Chairman Grimm?
Here.
You have quorum.
So much. If you could, please rise for the invocation and pledge. Lord, as we come before you this evening, we want to just thank you. Thank you for loving us, for guiding us, for providing a path. We thank you for all the blessings in our lives and the opportunity to serve. Your last days here, you washed people's feet. You served others and provided a guide for us. And we thank you so much. We appreciate your grace when we fail and the chance to try again. Please be with us as we serve each other this evening. Do the best we can for the county. Honor you in holy name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. Moving on to our communications. We have communications from members of the public and county employees. We're going to start with the public. And Mr. Roki, I believe you've got something for us tonight? Mr. Roki.
I look now and see who you're talking about. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Elton Roki. I know you probably get tired of hearing from me. Big mouth in the pipeline fight, and now I'm trying to stay out of the data center fight, but getting drug into it. I brought some brochures along tonight. I don't think I got enough for everybody, but it's kind of where they're going, what they're planning on doing. We've been having a lot of meetings. They're very, very organized, the opposition group. There's a lot of opposition to this in the city and a lot of it in the county, which doesn't really have a say in it because of the home rule. There have been several groups gone up to DeKalb to see the operation up there, listen to it, see what kind of noise it makes, what kind of traffic, what kind of dust. Haven't got any results on all that yet, but it's going to be interesting. Monday night there's an emergency board meeting of the HOA group out at Country Club Estates. Sounds like the majority of the board members are opposed to it. They're planning a trip up there this week to see what's going on. I went to the joint committee meeting the other week. And I know that the county is doing some work on ordinances, what we can do to protect our unincorporated areas, set guidelines for what we need, what we want to do in the county, protect our natural resources, our water, our electricity. I mean, there's 100 things that are coming up on this. The only thing I can say is I'd like to see, I don't like to rush things, but I'd like to see us do something in the line of ordinances as soon as we possibly can. I know it takes a while to go through committee, land use, zoning, to the full committee. But I think time is of essence. There's companies, I looked up today, there's something like 5,000 companies now, or projects they're proposing in the United States. So I think the time is of essence to get something done on this. Things happen so fast. I don't know if any of you are aware of it, but our big Caterpillar parts facility down in Delavan went on the market a month ago for sale. That's over 1,100,000 square feet of property. It could be very easily adapted to a battery type farm or data center, something like that. So the sooner we get these ordinances on the books, I think the better off we're going to be. I got some of these passed out. I didn't get enough of them. Anybody like one? kind of where this group's going, what they're doing, and what they're trying to get accomplished. If you need more, I can get them. And this group has done a lot of investigation. They track the money trail, they track shell corporations that are coming in trying to run this thing. And if you guys want any of that information, or members of that group would be more than happy to come and make a presentation to the county board. Thank you for your time.
Thank you all. Alright, enough from the public, county employees, Ms. Braille. Ms. Braille.
Thank you, I'll just take a second. I know every month we get this paper called County News. And I know a lot of you take them home and look through them late at night when you can't sleep, you get up and read them. And sometimes I get the chance to read parts of them, I hardly ever read the whole paper. But this month, for some reason, I happened to stumble across a section in the County News that I really would like to recommend. And if you don't have the February 2nd one, maybe you can help us get some. It's called Hot Topics. Power is the next big thing. And what I noticed about it is that there's a lot of information from other county boards, other counties. It's not a one-sided picture of anything. It kind of just gave me a bigger picture of what we're seeing in a lot of different areas. So I just am recommending if you have a chance to find yours back or see if you can get a copy. I mean, you guys will know mine, but I have to quite to the end of it, but there's a lot in here about various kinds of energy, and I think it shows a little more. Maybe some of you already read it and know, but I recommend a good read for some night, or even an early morning. Called Hot Topics, and it's in the middle of the February 2nd paper, the CN County News. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Is there anybody else who'd like to say anything? Alright, then Mr. Setti, bring you up here. This is Chris Setti from the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council.
Well, good evening. First, thank you for the invitation. It's been a while since I've made a presentation to the Tazewell County Board, and so some of you are new faces, some of you I've known for years, so it's good to catch up with Mr. Crawford there, who I think I've known for almost 20 years. So thank you very much. I wanted to give you an update on the investment that you make in us and the results that are generated from it. So I have 7 slides, but I promise you, one of them is that one, and the other one says thank you. So there's really only 5. 5 stories about the work that we do at the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council to serve you in Tazewell County and the entire region, with the understanding that a regional lens for economic development means that when things happen in one place, they impact the other places as well. Because many of you may have lived in Tazewell County but work in Peoria County or Mason County or vice versa, and that's really what we work on at the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council. So we kind of have 5 areas of work, and I'm going to tell you one quick story about every one of those areas. Business attraction is where that is kind of my responsibility, along with being the CEO. And last year, almost about this time, it was actually in later March, we made an announcement. That's Mayor Burtis, obviously, and a man named Freddie Lee. I don't think Freddie is his given name, but he is from Singapore, but he goes by Freddie. And he is the owner of a company called Epic Medical. And they worked with us and the city of Pekin and the Intersect Illinois, or the Illinois Economic Development Council, as well as the state of Illinois, to land this deal in Pekin. They will be breaking ground in April. They don't have a date yet, but I was talking to my contact there. They plan to build a medical device factory. This company does a few things, but what they're going to do in Pekin is they're going to make saline bags, IV bags, make and fill IV bags. This was a nationwide search. I know we were competitive in competition with sites in Texas, and it's going to bring, it's a $25 million investment, and between 90 and 100 jobs over time as they ramp up. But they bought 60 acres from the city of Pekin, so we know that they've got plans for phase 2 and phase 3. So it's a great win for Tazewell County and for the region. Next, please. business attraction gets a lot of the attention because it's the new thing and people get to shake hands on camera because of it. But certainly more important is watching our existing companies grow. I want to tell you a story about this company, which is called Cranes Equipment and Service, actually based in Eureka, Illinois. And because of a very long-term relationship by my vice president of programs, who many of you likely know, and maybe know her better than I do, which is Sally Hanley. Sally had been working with them, and they were looking to expand. They make custom cranes, and they actually do some work with the Corps of Engineers. And they've gotten this brand new line of business, and they were outgrowing their space there in Eureka. And it so happened that there was a place in Morton that was actually, that company was leaving. It's kind of at the end of Flint Street. And so Sally was able to connect them with the right people and work on the expansion to a second. So luckily, we didn't poach a company from Woodford County and bring it to Tazewell, because I don't get to, take any credit for that. But we were able to help a Woodford County company expand into Tazewell County and actually help them write a grant alongside the Village of Morton that gets them a $600,000 grant. Not the most interesting pictures, but this is of the construction that was work. This work was done by Corps, so it was done by local business. They're going to be adding 24 jobs to this location. The work is in punch list, I think, and they may actually be operating in there. The grant's not closed out yet, but it's a $4.5 million investment in your community that we were able to help. Next. Some of the most important work that we do is actually in workforce solutions, and this is sometimes things we do that we don't even know if they will work, because some of it happens so early that we won't know the results for years. And I think the best example of that is Career Spark. And Career Spark, this year was the 9th time we've held Career Spark. And there's really two versions of it. There's an online version for high school students, but the one I want to talk about is the in-person version that happens every year at the Peoria Civic Center, where we invite every 8th grader in the region to attend for each one of them. It happens over 2 days, but it's a 2 to 2.5 hour career expo where they get to be in a hands-on environment that is assisted by over 700 volunteers. We had 1,300, there were about 4,100 students that came through the doors. 1,374 of them were from Tazewell County schools, from 15 different schools. Of the 62 schools, we get big schools like Pekin, some of the Pekin schools, or the Peoria Public Schools, and we get little itty bitty schools that come in a van. We even offer it to homeschool kids who will show up in their parents' car. I love this picture because it's just one of these pictures that only seems to happen at Career Spark, of one of the sisters from OSF who is teaching a young person about that young, I think it might be a young man, is wearing Google glasses, but learning about software engineering and the use of technology in the healthcare space. And there's all sorts, they learn about manufacturing. Actually, the manufacturing section is basically run by Tazewell County. Joel Steger from Pekin Community High School and Steve Stewart from Morton Industries are the co-chairs of the manufacturing section. I would invite you all. I usually make these invitations via whoever is my board member, which happens to be Mr. Grimm. But when we have it again, come down, we'll take you on the tour. It's a really amazing and impressive thing that we do. Next slide, please. This one's a little bit more of an eye chart. I cover 5 counties, Greater Peoria, DC. We do a lot of work in a lot of places that don't have a professional staff like Miss Darcy, right? They are smaller communities that have a mayor, and they might have a clerk, but they don't have anybody that does like true economic development. And then we have some of the spaces in between. And one of the areas that we've really worked on over the last really 3 or 4 years is the idea of rural broadband. And with some funds that came through the Tazewell County, through some of your CEJA Energy Transition Communities funding, as well as some funding that we secured from a national foundation called the Just Transition. We've been working, and Kathy Brown, who some of you know, I think Earl is after me, and he would know who Kathy Brown is, because Kathy used to work for him before she worked for me, did a lot of feasibility study. And that might seem pretty boring, to do a feasibility study on broadband. But the result of that has been the announcement of, these are still preliminary announcements of federal funding that comes through the state of Illinois called BEAD. And I couldn't even remember what BEAD stands for anymore. But because of that, almost 4,400 new connections will be able to be made in Tazewell County. That's what your county looks like if it was 4,400 dots, by the way. That is $23.2 million worth of federal funding that in some part, because of the work that Kathy and you all did, is being brought to this community. 81%, I needed a third bullet point because I was trying to stay consistent. I was like, what is a third bullet point I can put up there? And 82% of the connections will be made via fiber versus satellite or cellular. Because there's lots of different technologies, but the best technology is actually fiber because you don't have what's called latency. With satellite, you have a little bit of latency, which is really tough if you're trying to work from home. So this is really great. A lot of this money is going to Comcast, but I think there were 5 or 6 different awardees that are taking different parts of Tazewell County. Of the 5 counties that we worked with, you had the largest share or the largest number of dollars. I don't know why that is. You also may have had the largest opportunity to get the dollars too, as opposed to a place like Peoria County, which is more urban, right? And then the last one, or second last one. The last one, I swear, just says thank you. Is planning. We are an economic development planning agency as well as a practitioner agency. And one of the most important things we do is manage a regional economic development strategy that has led to things like saying broadband is important to this region. And over the last 6 months, we've been hosting what we call big table conversations because we're in the midst of rewriting this 5-year comprehensive economic development strategy. And we want the voices of everybody. So the very first one we had was in Peoria, and it was intended for the entire region, but we also, I just said this to John, we recognize that if we hold a meeting in Peoria, it feels like it's for Peoria. So we wanted to make sure that we had other meetings to gather the voices of citizens across. And now we can't do this in every city, but we can do this in every county, and we had one in Tremont. John said that he was there, and I remember seeing Brett there, I remember seeing your clerk there, and I'm sorry, others may have been there, I just don't remember. But that's at Tremont High School. We had about 30, 35, 40 people that were there. This all matters to us, and this is not just a whiteboard session where we ask people what they think, what they want to see be better, or the things that they love, and then nothing ever happens with it. This all makes its way into a plan that then we will be submitting to the federal government, which helps us unlock funding from the U.S. Economic Development Administration. And over the last 8 years that I've been at GPDC, we've had almost $20 million worth of federal funding from USEDA alone, all connected to our SETS, Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy. So the work that those of your citizens did at that meeting will go into a plan that will help us unlock future dollars. And now the thank you slide. I like to think I'm the most findable guy in Peoria, so that's all the ways you can get a hold of me, but I also have WhatsApp, you can connect with me via LinkedIn, I'm sure you can send me a message through Twitter and Facebook and all those other things. I'm on the Greg and Dan show every Monday morning at 7:40, although they don't do call-ins anymore, but I am here to serve you. My organization is here to serve you. You are an investor in us. And so I very much appreciate and I value every dollar that someone invests in us. I'm happy to take any questions that if time allows, but I promise to keep it quick. So,
Questions? Mr. Mennel?
Yeah, on your map there, it looks like in southwest part of the county, there's not much activity, and I don't understand that that's where the need is the most. So can you tell us why that is?
I can certainly follow up with a better answer than I'm about to give you. So we, some of it is pure economics. The cost of running fiber from, what they call buy a house is pretty expensive, right? And so it's still, even with what the BEAD funding does, is actually a subsidy to companies like Comcast or i3 Broadband chose not to get themselves involved. They just said it's just not the business that they're in. But with Comcast, there's a lion's share around central Illinois that they got MTCO, it's not now MTCO, got some as well, Telstar. So I couldn't tell you exactly why, but whatever companies, we did the feasibility study, we gave them feasibility studies. It was a very valuable tool to help demonstrate. I don't really know, I'll ask Kathy if she knows why. That they maybe this gentleman knows why?
Yeah, I mean, I can tag on. I don't
Good, because I was afraid somebody was asking about the one slide I don't really know a lot about.
No, I was gonna comment, actually, Kathy Brown did a great job in the last couple of years. I worked with her on some
Yeah.
committees. And that area specifically, it can only be served economically by line of sight or cellular. And unfortunately, BEAT funding mostly spends its money on fiber. So if you couldn't make a good argument with line of sight, it didn't make the qualifications for speed. So unfortunately, like Chris is saying, it's just not economical for them to run fiber out there. So maybe the next round, maybe when they lower the standards for the speeds, maybe they'll get more funding.
Thanks for bailing me out, Ms. Proud.
That's my territory. Don't get me started. I would say a lot of that has to do with the fact that there's a lake down there and there's a full lot of forest. Houses are scattered about, not quite in housing developments, and so all of that is included. And yes, we've been working on this for 100 years, and I think it's the same story I've heard before, but hopefully this is the good story. Thank you.
There's a whole story behind BEAT funding, but changing administrations in midstream does make things a little bit more interesting as priorities shift and policy shift. So they've worked through all of that, it seems.
Any other questions for Chris?
Chris, thanks again for coming tonight. And one of the questions in general that I've wondered, and not that this is a bad thing, is as a county, are we more supporting the cities with the funding that we give in? There's not going to be as many businesses that come necessarily specific into the county territory, but so that is one question which I think you somewhat answered when we're talking about the broadband. And just to follow up and tag on with that conversation, I was just reading the feasibility study last week, and I think I remember seeing a number pretty close to 60 million, 56, 59, something like that million, that it would take to get the whole county. So that's a big chunk of it, at least. So.
Yeah, and that's the subsidy. So there's there's an amount that's being put in by the companies as well. So the 23.2 million or whatever that number was, that's actually how much federal money, or it's actually state money. It's money that's been given to the state to then pass through for this. To answer your first question, I think is a great question. So certainly on rural development, we're trying to help all the spaces in between, right? Because the city of Pekin and the city of East Peoria and Morton, they have staff to do so. Workforce is everybody, right? No matter where you live, if you're a farm kid or you live, in the East Peoria Bottoms, or you live in suburban Morton, that workforce is there. When it comes to the maybe the more traditional economic development work that we do of business attraction and business assistance, we go where the businesses are, right? And so years and years ago, this was prior to me, the extension of Wagon Cellar Road is in unincorporated Tazewell County and is unlocked. It made it better for some of those businesses that are there. And Regal Enterprises, which is, I believe, still there along Wagon Cellar Road, is actually a company we recruited to go to there. It was a company from Pittsburgh. They do bridge rehab. I'm sure I am minimizing the complexity of the work that they do. But that was actually my director of business attraction that had brought them here. When it comes to business attraction, I will tell you it is all about the sites. Right? If I don't have a site, I actually spent the better half of this afternoon responding to what's called an RFI that I thought I had 3 sites for a food production facility, 2 in Peoria County, 1 in Tazewell County, and by the end of the day I had 0 sites because they couldn't take the water that was needed. So when you think about industrial development, because if in the world of economic development we are working with the types of companies whose customers aren't strictly local, you think of it that way. We don't work on retail, hospitality, entertainment. That's what local economic development or chambers of commerce do. So, but when you're talking largely industrial, some office, the needs are gonna be power, water, rail, road, and sometimes they just don't exist, in the rural areas, especially with water and sewer. Food production takes a lot of water, and if you take a lot of water, you spend a lot of water. and if that infrastructure is not there. So it really is about finding the right fit for whatever the opportunities might be.
Any questions? All right, Mr. Setti,
Thanks,
you very
everybody.
much.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Allen.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's always good to come see you. I'm always grateful for you building in some time to let me speak. Tonight I'm going to do this a little different. I distributed copies of our annual report in your packets, or Sandy did. Appreciate her help with that. Tazewell did pretty good. The front page, we got a Tremont 4-H'er on the front cover, and on the back cover we got Spring Creek, a picture from Spring Creek Preserves. So anyway, I want you to read that and look at it, but I'm going to talk a little more personally tonight. After 20 years with U of I Extension, I decided it's time for me to retire, and my last day is going to be April 30th. I turned 65 in January, and just have had a lot of personal things kind of align to where now's kind of the right time to do that. My time serving Extension has been really enjoyable. I took over Tazewell County in 2010. And one of the things I've enjoyed the most is I get to work with a lot of servant-minded people. And that's especially true about all the county boards that I've worked with. The county board members, the local officials, and the support staff. I just see this servant-mindedness in almost everybody. And I've got a special connection to Tazewell County because I grew up in Tazewell County, lived near Mason City now for about 30 years, I guess. But I look around here tonight and I see it's this room full of talented people. I've watched some of you in action, most of you in action when I come to board meetings and other things. I've worked directly with several of you over the years, and I've seen that servant-minded approach over and over again. And I want to thank you for that. And I want to thank you for the support of Extension that you've had during my tenure as county director. And just want you to know that I genuinely enjoy being part of the Tazewell County team. I've always instilled in my staff that we work with 4 counties in this unit, but we are a teammate of each county. And the support that you've given us over the years